even realize I didn't add myself to the stream. So that's funny. All right. So I'm sorry that just totally threw me off. That's disgusting. Oh, we were looking at how to show keystrokes. Let me just quickly look at that. I'll look at this video. Okay, what is the name of this? Karnak. Now you have to be careful because people leave links and stuff, and some people, some people can be helpful, but this can be kind of dangerous. Um, because you never know what kind of link people are leaving. Karnak is displaying my mouse clicks in the pop-ups along with my keystrokes. No, no, we don't like to. No. Yeah, because I'm gonna be playing music. I'm gonna be doing this, and I want you guys to be able to see. I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. Let me look this up before I just click on this link. Sorry, I'm being a computer tech. I'm just always paranoid, y'all. So I guess this is just another. Okay, yeah, I kind of like that. I like that. So let's. So I'm just running a little scan and just making sure there's no malware or anything in it. All right. So because it's a zip file, we have to go ahead and extract that. Here we go. Okay, so it doesn't help that I don't know how to use this. So I mean, I guess I can just minimize and oh, it's not showing. I didn't do something right. Oh, I see it. It's in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I didn't catch that. Okay. So, no, you won't be able to see it down there. I need to put it in a spot where you can see it. Save. Okay. That I think that'll work. You can see it pretty good from up there. Okay, that was pretty easy. And now, see, just like that, quick little solution. All right, so um, we selected all these. As you can see, the color is blue. So we're going to undo the blue color, the color code, um, by hitting the number 9 because that's for blue. Wasn't in the application, that's why. So number 9. As you can see, they disappeared, and we have a filter for the blue labels. Because we deselected them, we didn't, they've gone. So, all right. Getting back to the child that we need to find. Okay, that's not her. Okay, I just found the next child, and this is day 2, which we are on, and we need 440. Mm. All right, now the numbers are a little bit off because I didn't realize this at first when I was shooting with my camera, and I was shooting with my camera and I told it to reset the numbers, right? And have it start from 1. And what I didn't realize is that uh when I deleted some of the pictures, it made some of the pictures go out of whack. So um the good thing is it doesn't just give me the file name, it gives me the picture. So even though this is 440, if I click it and just hover over it, it's actually 430 because we've actually deleted some of the pictures out of here. So the numbers don't match up perfectly, but at least this puts me in a realm. And then I since I have the picture of the young lady, I can come here and just say, okay, here, 439, that starts her section. And as you can see, we've taken from 439, which looks like to 460. That's going to be her whole section. And we just want to pick the ones that they want. So I'm going to go to 440, right? We're looking for that. That's this one. And I'm going to press the number 9 to set it to a blue label. And 441, they like that one. Not, I'm not understanding why people doing this, and I may have to talk to them about it. But they select pictures that were literally, I mean, these pictures are almost the same unless I'm missing something. Let me go see. So I just clicked on a develop tab, and so we got 440. Yeah, 440 and 441. That is literally the same picture. I mean, she moved a smidgen in that, right? I mean, mm. So this is where I just typically make a judgment call. I'll probably call this parent and uh talk to him about it, but you can see here it literally does not make sense for me to edit both of these because they're literally the same picture. Her eyes are pretty much the same, her smile is pretty much the same, her pose is pretty much the same. So it doesn't make sense for me to edit both of these. So I'll go ahead and go with the first one uh of 440. I'm gonna uh click on 441 and I'm gonna hit 9 again to take off the blue label because that's literally just a duplicate. And then we have 449. All right, there we go. They like that one. So I'm gonna hit 9. And again, that just gives us little blue. Yeah, I'm sorry, little blue label. I'm sorry, I was just having a thought. My mind be it's always thinking about multiple things. I wanted the stuff to show up maybe like in the middle or something rather than that upper right hand corner. See what happens when I move this to maybe 200. I'll just do a T for test. Okay, so that's the top offset. Let's do the right offset. We do 250. All right. And I'm just pressing T for test. All right. Well, the right offset didn't do anything. What about the left offset? 250. Okay, I think that left offset works. So we want a little bit more, maybe 500. Let's go with 500 here. Oh, no, I kind of like the 200 here. I'll do a quick test. T, nope. We need to go a little bit more. 500, let's say 700. Test. I think we'll have to go to 1,000. There we go. Now we cooking with grease. All right. Let's say maybe 1,100 should get it in that sweet spot. I think. There we go. 1,100. That put it right in the middle. So I'm gonna save that. All right. So we set our blue label and so we come to library, we put our blue filter on, and now we have just our two pictures that we have picked out, that the parents have picked out for the young lady. All right, so now we can go ahead and go to develop and do what we're gonna do. So the goal is to get this stuff off. right? We want to get all of this out of there. So the first thing I do th- is I brighten it and maybe change a few of the settings. If you want, you can just do auto. It usually does a good job of just kind of brightening things up and stuff like that. I mean, I'll go ahead and click it for the hell of it. All right, so you see what auto did. It toned it down. I don't want it that dark, of course, so I'm just pressing the up arrow, as you can see, until it's about the brightness that I like. I think somewhere right up in there is good. All right. And yeah, I'm thinking I pretty much like that. So next thing, we're going to go to the crop. And I've been doing all my pictures at this 8x10. It just kind of crops it down a little bit. She's already pretty much in the middle. I mean, if I want to be just super perfect, do something like that. But I don't think that's really a big deal. All right, so it's lit pretty much the way I want it. We cropped it the way we want it. So I'm gonna go ahead and right click, edit in. I'm gonna left click Photoshop. All right, so now we're gonna switch and go to Photoshop. I did not want to open. Ah, crap. Open Premiere by mistake. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that out and go to Photoshop. All right, so now we have our picture. All right, and I'm gonna explain one, and then after I explain one, fully explain this whole process, I'm going to put on my music because it is quiet in here and it's driving me up a wall. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is Control J on a PC to make a duplicate, right? And now that I've made my duplicate, we're working non-destructively because we can always come back to the original layer if we need to. And here we go. So I want to get rid of this, and I'll show you the way I do it, right? Initially, I was kind of thinking, oh, I can grab the clone tool and just just kind of fill in. But as you can see, that could be kind of rough, right? Because it doesn't really match. So it's like, well, okay. And I'm pressing Control Z to go back, remove those spots. Uh-oh, went too far. Edit, redo, layer copy. Okay. So I'm gonna show you the way that I wind up doing this. So we have some room on each side, so we're gonna go ahead and go with that. All right. We'll use our selection tool, our rectangular marquee tool. Right now, I'm gonna show you guys. I have this set to a keyboard shortcut because it didn't have one. But edit and warp. So edit, transform, and then warp, which I set it to my F2 key. All right, and then we just kind of drag this out and drag this out. Now there may be a better way to do this. This is just the way that I found. And in Photoshop, uh, I mean, some things there definitely is a right and wrong way, but there's a lot of things that there's not really a right and wrong way. It's just how do you get to your end product. So if someone has a easier or better way to do this, I would be all ears and open to it. This is just how I do it. And Control D deselects your selection. So that's why you see that popping up. All right, and then I'm gonna hit my shortcut for warp. And I'm just gonna extend this out. right, then deselect. All right, and it's looking like it's pretty much there. I'm gonna hold Alt and roll the mouse wheel backwards to come out a little bit more so I can see more of the picture. Again, I'm gonna hit my warp tool. I'm just gonna stretch this out. All right, so that's looking a lot better, right? That looks pretty seamless. Like that could have actually been the picture that we took. All right. And now I'll go in and get my patch tool. Now this part you may be able to do with your clone tool. I just find the patch tool really easy. I just draw circles. I want to get rid of that little crease and I bring it to an area that's smooth. Let it go, and now bam. Bang. Take this little crease, bring it to an area that's smooth, and there we go. So that looks a whole lot better to me. And we'll just go in and do the same thing. All the little creases and imperfections, I try to go and just smooth out. And sometimes you just gotta kind of play with it to match it up. All right, I think that looks pretty good. And now we're just gonna go in and take care of some of this little stuff. It doesn't have to be super perfect because you're not gonna be zoomed in on a picture like this. But the obvious stuff, right, I just want to get rid of. So I'm just circling, dragging it over to a clean area, and then control to deselect. All right, so let's look at the original. That looks a lot better. All right, and I think I'm gonna leave it there. I mean, I could try to get this little piece right here out. It's not as big of a deal. Yeah, I guess that works. Just kind of blend that in a little bit better. So original fixed, right? I think that's a much better photo. And I'm kind of feeling like that's a lot of room that we're wasting. So what I'm also going to do is Control T for free transform. I'm going to hold the Alt button so that it holds the aspect ratio. And I'm going to take one of these corners and I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger because we don't need all that dead space. And there we go. I think that looks really good. So from there, I don't think we pretty much need to do anything else. I do sometimes like to apply a little color boost. And that was just a Photoshop action that I had purchased a while back. It works pretty well. And if I don't like the intensity of it, I can bring it down just by lowering the opacity. But I actually like it. I like the full intensity of it on her. So that just made it pop. Just gave it that little bit of extra pop. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that in. And want to make sure I save it as a TIFF. Now I don't know why this is, but if you save it as a TIFF, it goes right into it goes right back into Lightroom. Excuse me. If you save it as other stuff, it doesn't always typically go right back into Lightroom. So, like if you save it as a JPEG and stuff, at least I don't believe so. It's been a minute since I did it. But I know a TIFF will go right back into Lightroom. So if we just switch right back over, that picture is now in our Lightroom catalog. Right. So we went from there to there. All right. And now gonna go ahead and do our second one. So I think the lighting is good here. Gonna go ahead and set up our crop. Gonna use that 8x10 preset. And I think that's good. That's pretty center. Yeah, edit in Photoshop. And all I did was right click the picture down at the bottom and select the option to edit in Photoshop. So if we just come back, and these are just shortcuts on my taskbar. I could Alt Tab, but you'll see me going through different little things. So, all right. So again, we're gonna start off by doing Control J to make a duplicate layer over here, right? And we're gonna get our rectangular marquee tool, which the shortcut for is M. And I think I'm just gonna start off by zooming out. I'll hold the Alt button down and roll the mouse wheel back. I'm on a PC. I forget. I know Control is Command, so maybe Alt is Option on a Mac. I'm not entirely sure on that, but it wouldn't be too hard to figure out. I'm pretty sure you can look that up on YouTube or something or Google it. All right. So I don't have a lot to work with on this side. So yeah, let me go ahead and blow this picture up because that's going to alleviate some of it. So we're going to do Control T for a free transform, and then we're going to actually roll this out. And what I'm doing is I'm holding the Alt button and then I'm just moving it outwards, right? So as you can see here, we have a lot less space to worry about. I'm just going to center her. All right. Even though they're saying now it's dead center, I want to give it a little bit of room. I think there's about good. So let's go back to our marquee tool. Go ahead and make our select. I don't know why I keep doing this. I should just start from over here. It's easier. And then we just go right up to, you don't want to clip or get in, stretch any of her stuff, right? You don't want to stretch her arm or her dress. And we can just go ahead and hit our shortcut, or again, edit, transform, not free transform, but transform and warp. And I set a shortcut to make warp F2. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then we're just going to drag this in out. We're going to drag this in out. And then we're just going to move this over. Move that over. And there we go. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. right, and here we go. Want to get this crease out of there. Little crease right here. Look like there may be some indentations or whatever right here. Yeah, that looks a lot smoother. We have this crease in here. Now you have to be careful with this. Don't just drag it and let it go, because if you go too far, it's going to grab a little bit of her. You don't want that. And even if you go over just a tad, you want to make sure that it's right? I don't want to do this. That's going to look crazy. You want to make sure that it kind of lines up, and see it just blended that beautifully. So all that's left is for me to go in now and clean up some of this down here. And all I'm doing is just moving it to a cleaner area. So for your little imperfection, and then move it to a clean area. It's just gonna, I guess, proper term would maybe be mask. It's gonna mask that out. Cover it up, whatever you want to call it. All right, so I think that will pretty much do it. I, I'm sorry, I see this little piece of blue tape, and I know when I zoom out, you're really not even gonna notice it, but it's just kind of bugging me. And I really don't. I might not mess with it because it's so close to a foot. Basically, that keystroke, one makes the circle bigger, one makes the circle smaller. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. All right, and I think we're good here. So let's go ahead and add our boost. And I think that's it. I think we're good. Yeah, I know. Stop showing me that. Whew. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I just had plenty of these to go. And I'm just waiting for it to finish saving. You can see down here it's at 97%. It just finished. So we'll go back to our Lightroom, and we now have our two pictures of the girls. I don't need the original, so I'm gonna take the blue label off of the originals because I don't need those anymore. We have our finished product. All right, and I go to library, Control A for select all, and then I'm gonna export. And the way I have mine set up is it's going to export to the same folder as the original. I wanted to put it in a subfolder called completed, right? So you just type the name of whatever you want your subfolder to be, and it'll create and put whatever you're exporting in that. Then I have it set to if they have a pre-existing file with the same file name, ask me what to do. All right. We're not doing anything file naming, no video. We're not trying to decrease the quality because this is the final prints. Let's see. We're not resizing it. I could do sharpen, but I think the pictures are pretty sharp. I don't want to include the watermark here because we're going to do it through Pixieset. Because what Pixieset does is if you do the watermark through them when your clients order the pictures, it will take off the watermark. But if you do it through another program, the watermark will be there. So just remember that if you have Pixieset and a lot of these places, they can do stuff like that. Do it through your whatever program you're using to manage your pictures, because when it goes for prints, they can take the watermark off. So we're pretty much all set. I'm gonna go ahead and tell it to export. All right, and you can see up here it's going through the export process. And what I'm gonna go do now is look in my folder for them and my completed, and there she is. So now I can actually take this and I'll show you what this looks like. Wait, I should have a Pixieset open. Don't I? Nope. All right, well, I'll show you what this looks like. Pixieset. All right, and I'm gonna go to the client gallery. And I just add my child's name in. And save. Oh, that's my uncle right there. I'm gonna have a little bit of an interruption. Hey, Kev, what's up? Um, actually, I'm live right now. If you wanna jump in StreamYard with me, you can just kind of see what I'm doing. I'm kind of just going through the process on that anyway. Um, well, it's some no, it's not Zoom. It's something called StreamYard. Let me see. I might be able to. I mean, not might. I can add you in so you can see and talk. Do you have a mic and a headset, or do you just? Yeah, because you can talk through the program. I mean, it doesn't matter. But let me see. Let me see if I can add you in. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm about to send you an email. And it has a link to StreamYard. All right. Huh? Yeah, I emailed it. Hasn't shown up yet. Oh, okay. All right, and go back. Yeah, go ahead and click allow. Does it say anything about join meeting or anything like that? I mean, you can use it on Chrome. I don't think it matters what what browser you use it on, but I'm using mine through Chrome. Yeah. No. Uh-uh. They should just allow you because I had Jared on here the other day and he didn't have to have an account or anything. So it won't let you do anything. Right. Ma- Uh, may- Maybe try closing out and click the link again since you hit allow. Maybe it's. I know sometimes the programs need to start over. Still doing the same thing. Uh, I don't know how this is gonna go since this thing is already using my camera, but let's see. Me, yeah. At least I think you can go ahead and try it. I mean, you can always stop if it asks you for like a credit or debit card or something. I just sent you a second email for Zoom meeting. That one not working either. Yeah, we talked for a minute. Yeah, I'm happy to hear you getting it together. All right, so we'll go ahead and let's see if this works. You can see my screen? Okay. Whichever one you're comfortable with. Because I can't hear you through the computer. Uh-uh. Yeah, I can hear you now. All right. You know what? Can you share your screen? I was just curious, what was it showing you on the stream your side? Like what was why was it preventing you from logging in? Yeah, let me stop my share. And I think I need to, yeah, allow you to share so you can share your screen. Uh-huh. Okay, click on yeah, right. Just click it. Let's see what happens. What you mean? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, I'm just waiting for you to come in on StreamYard. There we go.
So why didn't this work on computer?
On PC,
We'll have
we'll
to
have to get out. No.
Do you have a mic in yeah, you have mic and speakers on there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why Zoom works.
Right, exactly. Okay, so that was a little bit weird. But anyway, we can go ahead and move on from that. I'm gonna close out Zoom because we don't need that going if we using StreamYard. All right,
Yeah,
so we got that pretty
I'm
much
looking at.
fixed. Huh?
All right, I'm just trying to make this big enough for me to see anything on this phone.
Oh yeah, yeah. You want? I mean, you want to try one more time on a computer?
You know what? Let me get my. Let me go get my other laptop, and I can put it right here. Maybe it'll work on that. And then, all right, hold on.
Yep. All right. So while he's doing that, sorry about that interruption. But that is my uncle, and he was working with me to take these pictures and stuff like that, and he's also going to probably be editing a few of them. So let's go ahead, and we finished with this young lady, so we're actually going to go ahead and I'm going to hit the 9 key to take the blue label off, right? Because we no longer need that. And then I'm going to take the blue filter off by clicking up here. All right, so we now, and I guess at this point you didn't see names and stuff like that. And I was just going through in my head if showing any of this would be, a security risk, but not really, because you're not getting passwords or anything, so there's no risk to anybody on having this. So I'll bring in what it looks like on my end from Pixieset. So when a client messages me, right? I had a few messages on this day.
Hold up. You talking to me or you got somebody else on?
No, it's a live stream, so I'm just talking. So if if you need to ask me a question, it's fine. Just interrupt me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So this is how things look from the Pixieset side once they email us. I'm just going through and looking for the next young lady that I have to edit. Now, why? Nope. That one part about Google is kind of confusing at times. Okay. That was a young lady we just did. And I need to move to the next one, which should be this one. Yeah. So she should be next. And we'll just say view. And this gives me the pictures that they're planning on purchasing. And I was about to say, am I tripping? Because it looks like they might have did more than 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And yet again, they did this foolishness where uh they picked a picture that's pretty much gonna be exactly the same. They picked 4 different pictures that's exactly the same. And the reason for that is we were taking pictures in fast frames. Like some people didn't have poses. So what we would do is we would let them just kind of dance and do their thing, and we would just snap as they go. All right, so we'll basically start here. I'll go ahead and move this back over to the other screen. So we have our numbers there. We can minimize this. And the first number was 491, and this was day 2, which we are already in. Oh, I went way past the mark. Okay, so this is a little bit off, so we have to go down. Okay, something about this is not adding up. Is she day 1? Okay, yeah, for some reason, I have that label wrong. She's day 1. She's not day 2. All right, you there, Kev? All right, so our pictures are 491. We need to find that one. Again, I'm gonna press number 9, the blue label. 496, blue label. 497. See, let me see the difference between 496 and 497. Yeah, see, literally, that's the same picture. Her smile is not different. Her hands are not different. She maybe moved over just a tad. Her hand position is the same. Yeah, no, we're just gonna go with that one. 490. Okay, so we got 496. We're gonna skip 497, and they picked 498. Jesus. Again, that's literally the same picture. Okay, her foot was a little bit closed on that one. So that's about it. So I may consider doing that one, but I don't know why they're doing that. I'm not, may have to call about that because it makes sense to spend all that time editing. Uh, anyway, not gonna fight that. Uh, 498, 504. So that's definitely gonna be a different one. And the reason I'm fussing with myself all going back and forth over this is because we have to edit pitches for 100 something girls, so we need to minimize how much we're editing. We sent a notification out to the parents, please only submit the pictures you plan on purchasing. So I don't know why would you do two or three pictures that's so. I mean, the change is minuscule. The facial expression is the same. The hand motions is the same. Like literally, why would you have us edit all of those? And we even did a video on how to pick the pictures, so it can't be they didn't know how to pick them. Like it couldn't have been a mistake there. Because I'm seeing multiple parents do this, so just gonna have to make a judgment call, and then I'll make a call to the parents to just kind of verify and explain to them, look, you picked several of the same pictures. Was there any particular reason for it? Because if not, it doesn't make sense to go through the edits for all those. Pick your favorite one out of those, and we'll process it. Or we picked one for you. If you don't like that one, pick the one you want, and we'll go ahead and edit. But it's just going to make the processing time a lot longer than anticipated. Oof, now that one's going to be a little tricky, but we're going to have to work it out. So we hit it with a blue label, 504. And this is all stuff we go through as photographers and, just work in general. If you're in any kind of industry working for yourself, you are going to, you're going to think about these things. Oh, I'm just trying to find, here we go. So it's 504 and 506. I kind of like 506 a little bit better because the color. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay with 506 on that one. 507 was a group. See what I'm saying? Like they pick 507 and 509. Now just take a look at this. 509, 507. 509, 507. That is literally the same exact pose. So we're not gonna do both of those. We're just gonna do the one. We're gonna do 507 and call that a wrap. Now 510. Yeah, We can move on to 510. That's a different pose. We're going to blue label that. I'm pressing the 9 key. And there's different keys has different labels. Like I think 8 is green, 7 is yellow, and I think 6 is red. So you can use those colors to your advantage to separate things out. Okay, so she had 510, 511. Again, facial expression is pretty much the same. There's a little tilt difference, but it's very, very minute. I'm gonna go with that one. So I'm gonna unblue label 512 and go with 5. Yeah, because they wanted 511 and 512, so I'm just gonna go with that. Okay, what else? 514. And all I'm doing is hovering over it and looking at the file names. And here again, same pose. Now we do have a little bit of a different angle, excuse me. So I'm probably gonna flag this one. No, probably I am. So we just flagged that one. 562. Oh no, that's a whole nother picture. So let's go looking for 562. All right, here we go. 562. Nope, that's 61. 62, again, literally the same picture. So that's fine. And then 584, 85, 88. Okay, so 584. Uh, 84, 585. Nope, 588. Okay, now see, I can live with that, right? Because that is a different pose. She's looking up, um, versus here, she's kind of looking more straightforward. So, like, I don't mind subtle changes like that, but when there's literally no change, like, it just don't make sense. All right, now we have 592. Those are eerily close. And she has a different facial expression. And that was the last one. So now that I've set my labels, I'm going to go ahead and click my filter, which on the develop tab is in the lower right rather than in the library tab. It's up at the top up here. But either one will do the job. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we do, we come to the development tab and it's already lit pretty well. I don't have any problems with the lighting, so I'm going to set our crop. We've been doing at 8:10. All right, that's pretty center. Not to worry about it being just a tad bit off, but all right. So now we right click and we send it into Photoshop. All right, so since it's pretty well lit and we don't have to do anything, we would have done that in Lightroom because it's a little bit easier. So now that we're in Photoshop, the first thing we want to do is make a duplicate. So we press Control J, and that gives us a shortcut. I mean, not a shortcut, a duplicate. Hello. Oh yeah, no, I didn't hear anything coming through. Oh wait, that was probably because I didn't have the screen up. I have too many screens going on here. Let me see something. Yeah, no, I saw one from Jared. I didn't see one. My friend Jared. I didn't see a chat from you. Oh, it's a private chat. Okay. See, I'm learning this application. Yeah, that's probably where it's gonna be. Yeah, here we go. You can't hear me. Sent same image. Yeah, so I see your message. Those come in private. So that's a lesson for me that if you're in the live with me, it comes to my private chat. But if you're if you're commenting from the outside, it comes live, or it can come live. Right now, yeah, I'm still only hearing you just through the phone. All right. All right. So yeah, no, I can leave I'll leave the phone on speaker. That way you can, we can chat or whatever. Uh-oh. Didn't like that. Let's see something. Nope. Getting that reverb, so I'll just have to hold it. That's no problem. All right. Okay. Yeah, I have the chat up. So okay. All right. So we've made our new layer, which is over here to the right in Photoshop. And now we want to eliminate all of this dead space. So the method I've been using is I take my rectangle marquee tool, right? And we're basically going to go ahead and select the area that's around here. Now I'm tempted to make it a little bit bigger, but we're kind of running out of space here at the top and the bottom, so I don't want to do that for this particular picture just because we don't have a lot of room. So I'm not going to expand it like I was doing previously. Um, Now I've made this a shortcut, but if you come to edit, transform, warp, right? You can see I had it set to F2 on my keyboard as a shortcut. Now I can take this and just kind of drag it over. And what you can see happening is all this little area here, it's basically going away and being replaced by the blue background. And then we just bring these little arms in, and just like that, we have our background. Now that worked out really well because we had a lot of space to work with on that side. And when you have a lot of space to work with, it's really easy. Control D is just to deselect the little marching ants or the little marquee tool. So we're gonna now go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So we have a little less room to work with, but the same thing. So this time I'm gonna just press my shortcut F2 for warp, and I'm just gonna drag that out. Go to the bottom, drag it out. And again, we're going to take the lever and just move the lever over. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it, at any point, like right now, I could stop because you can see the blue is all the way to the end. And then just go ahead and hit the check mark, and it's done. So then we can deselect. So we still have the issue of up top. So what I'm going to do is hold the Alt key, roll the mouse wheel back so we can see a little bit more. Right, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my marquee tool. I'm going to get right by her hand, but just make sure not to select any of her hand. I'll do it the long way for right now. Edit, transform, not free transform, and warp. All right, and this one, we're just going to bring it up so we don't see the roll. And then if we just lift this, and then see we have a little bit of shadow right there. So I'm gonna bring the second one up too, and that should do it. Yep. Now this side we may have to go out a little bit more. We may have to come up a little bit more. I'm actually gonna bring that one to, there we go. I think that's perfect. All right. So it's looking pretty good at this point, right? We didn't filled out the spots. There's still some things that we kind of want to clear up. Um, this was probably a wrinkle or something like that. It doesn't look too bad. It kind of looks like we just had some difference in the lighting more than a wrinkle to me. But if you wanted to kind of move that out, you could select it. And you just want to drag it to a clean area that looks the same. So this little area down here seems like it's pretty much the same. So if I just kind of bring it down, you can see what it'll do. Let it go. Bam. All right. And the same goes for down here. We can zoom on in. Well, before I zoom in, we have this spot or this little area right here. There's a bunch of little wrinkles. Just kind of move that over. Right. And when you bring it over, you just want to make sure you don't go too far up or down because you can see how it misplaced that little line. You just want to make sure that it's lined up and not looking like this. And I'll show you what'll happen. See. So I'm gonna just press Control Z and go back. And that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna press Control D to deselect. All right, and there's this few little spots down here. This was something, I guess, in my lens. We're just gonna take it, circle it, move it to a clean spot, and that's it. Control D to deselect, circle, move it to a clean spot, Control D for deselect. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just going around now and just cleaning up some of these dirty areas. You won't really be able to see too much on the ground over here, but I still like to just go and clean it up a little bit. And actually, okay, the reason I brought that one back is because there's a little shadow here going off of her leg, and I want to try to keep some of that. So I'm gonna actually bring it to the darker blue area. See, it kind of kept some of that shadow. And these don't really have to be done. This is not a big deal, but I just want to clean up some of it. So it's just not as pronounced. Going through, selecting the areas where you see a little bit of dirt and just moving into the clean areas. As you can see, clean it up. And if we just kind of go between the old and the new, right? That's the old. That's the new. Old, new. And we have one more little blemish over here. I think that'll do it. And that's pretty much a finished product. Now, there's one other thing that I tend to do. Of course, everybody doesn't have to do this. There's a little boost action that I tend to do to make the colors pop a little bit. And basically, you click boost and hit the Photoshop action, but it's really just a curves adjustment layer, is what it is. And again, if you find it to be too much, you can turn it down just by lowering the opacity. Right? But I actually like the pop that it's given. So, see, that's the original. That's with a little bit of extra pop. Again, the original with a little extra pop. Now, the same exact thing could be achieved by going through adjustment and this little icon right here, curves. If you do a curves adjustment layer and see it put it with that one, I didn't want it to do that. So I'm gonna just drag it out. Oh, drag the wrong one out. I'm pressing Control Z to go back. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so the bottom one is the one. I mean, duh, says curves too. I could have just read. So to show you how curves work, that one was a preset, right? That was a Photoshop action that we ran called Boost, and it created a curves adjustment layer. But you can come to adjustments and click curves and get your adjustment layer that way as well. Okay, so I'm going to enable this so you can see how to kind of get that. Typically what I like to do is you start out with the top and just kind of drag up or down. You'll see I'm gonna do it drastic so you can just see what it does, right? But if you just give it a little bit, maybe lighten it there, and then I'll come down here, just give it a little bit of contrast. Might have been too much, so maybe about right in there. And again, original, a little bit of pop. All right, so we can basically achieve almost the same thing with this. Original, a little bit of pop. So actions just makes things faster. Just know that. It's not that it's necessarily doing something that we can't do. It's just making things go a little bit faster. All right. So now that that one is finished, I'm going to save it as a TIFF, because when we save it as a TIFF, it auto populates back into Lightroom. I'm going to tell it IBM. You'll notice it's saving down here, and then what you're going to see is another picture is going to pop up in just a second, showing us that we have a finished product of that particular one. All right, and there we go. We have a finished product. So we're going to go ahead and move on to number 2. So again, this one's going to be a little rough because she's all the way to the left-hand side, but let's roll with it. There's nothing wrong with a little challenge. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm sorry, I misclicked. First thing is in Lightroom, you just want to make sure your lighting is right, just because it's so easy to, make sure everything's done. I think there is pretty good. Everything's nice and even and sharp. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to go to edit, and then I'm going to left click edit in Photoshop, which is going to bring it to Photoshop. All right. And it's going to take a little second to process, but then it'll appear in Photoshop. And let's see here. Okay, I'm sorry. I was doing two things at once. I was looking at something. I didn't realize that one of my replies went back to Facebook. So Jared, I'm gonna show he said, "What up, bro?" So y'all can see what I'm talking about. But when I replied, I can't respond to Facebook. So that's something for me to look into later about that. So we'll work that out later. But anyway, getting back to the picture. So we have our picture in Photoshop. First thing we want to do is Control J to make a copy, because we want to work non-destructively. We want to be able to come back to that original if we need to, right? Again, we're not working with a bunch of room up top or on the bottom, so that makes things a little bit complicated. But we're going to go ahead and start with our marquee tool. And actually, since I have it, I'm just going to use it. Since I have all that area, I'm going to go ahead and use it. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Warp, which I have shortcut to my F2 key. And I'm just going to drag this over. and then drag these. And as soon as it kind of fills in that pane, you're basically done. So I could stop anywhere in here and everything would be fine. And then we hit our check. And Control D for deselect. And then we come to the other side. Okay, I'm gonna use my shortcut F2. And we're just dragging it out. All right. And then finally up top. Now this one's definitely gonna be a little bit rougher. So I think I'm gonna stop here. Hold Alt, roll the mouse wheel back so I can see a little bit more. I'm gonna now hit F2 and just warp that up. Of course, it's gonna make my life difficult. See, and that's the problem. Since we don't have a lot of room, it's not pulling it as much. So what I'm gonna do, try something a little bit different. I'm gonna grab that, warp, and I'm gonna bring it up. See, now that took care of it, but I'm gonna have that little part above her hand to deal with. And you just want to make sure not to select her hand. Now, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to go a little bit further away from her hand so we can go down and grab some of this blue. Because it just looks a little bit better when you have a little bit more to work with. All right, I'm going to drag that up. Roll these up as well. All right, and you see we have a little bit of shadow right in here. I'm actually just going to take this second one and move it up as well. And there we go. That fixed that. All right, so now we just have this little bitty piece kind of deal with here. Now, how am I going to deal with that? Does the program mute me when you're abroad? No, it shouldn't. Oh, wait, let's see. It says can't unmute your guest. The mic isn't connected. Yeah, it probably. I know sometimes your mic can get kind of locked into another program. I mean, I don't know if you want to do it now or not, but sometimes if I restart, it'll free up my mic. I've had that happen several times. It's like some program gets stuck using it. All right. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. My thoughts is to use the clone stamp tool, and I'm just making it bigger, as you can see. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking this may be the way to go and just take my time with it. And I'll make another layer just so if I mess up bad, I can come back to that. So you're going to sample by pressing Alt in the clean area, right? And you can see the little icon changes to the little crosshairs. So you're going to hold the Alt button and then left click to sample from that area. Then I'm going to go into the area and I'm just clicking. Now the problem is you can see we have two tones over here. Now what from here, you know, it's well, I'm not gonna say it's hard to blend. So we pretty much got that, you know, we got that out the way. I don't know what you want to call that, but that's gone. But we still have this little spot here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take the patch tool and I'm just gonna select this little area and see if it can blend it for me. And it's kind of in between, so you can play with it. You can try dark, you can try light. Since it seems like more of it is to the light side, I'm gonna go to the light side. I'm gonna go to the right because see if I go over here, I mean it doesn't look bad, but I kind of feel like originally it has more of the light side. So I'm gonna go and move over to the light side and let it go. And voila, just like that. So if we go ahead and zoom back out, bam. Yeah, that looks pretty natural. So worked out well. It wasn't as hard as I thought. All right, so now we're just gonna go and do a little bit of cleanup. I think this time I'm gonna leave that little streak. Uh, it'll be a lot to try to clean this up. Not a lot, but I don't think it's necessary to really go in there. Because if I watch this, if I go ahead and select it and I try to move it, you're gonna see you can see something's been done here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that alone. I don't think it really hurts the picture at all. But here we definitely have a crease, so I don't want the crease. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start. We have a crease here, and a crease there. I'm gonna start here and try to get this crease out. And this is dark, but not too dark. So I'm thinking about coming in this area. Okay, that looks a little weird. Let me see if I can fix that. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, that looks a little bit better blended. And then for this area, I'm just gonna take this here and maybe go to the left. I think that looks a lot better. And we just have some minor cleanups like these little spots here. We're just gonna move those over quick and easy. Even for stuff like this, we just get that whole little area, clean that up. And I think that looks good. I mean, you may be able to see some little spots if you zoom like really in, but nobody's gonna be. That's not how we're looking at this picture. When you get it printed, you're not gonna be zoomed all the way in like this, so you won't even notice that. But if you want to be meticulous and you want to get it, there's no problem with it. But when we look at the picture, we're going to be looking from here, and you don't really notice any of that. So again, I'm going to go ahead and just add a little boost. And that's it. So we're going to do save as. And another one down the drain. All right. And I could just keep opening, but I'm gonna go ahead and close some of these because we're done. For every window you have open, it eats up more and more memory. I have a lot of memory. I have 64 gigs in this machine, but I still just don't like to have all of that open. So let's go and find her next one. Go back to Lightroom. Now, oh no, that was it. So let me go to this one. I'm really debating. I'm gonna skip this one for now because those look like the same exact pose. I mean, this one's a little bit tilted, but that literally looks like the same exact pose. So I'm gonna skip this one for now and go to that one because that's definitely a different pose. All right, this one's gonna be another one that's gonna be a little bit challenging because we don't have a lot to work with on the sides. All right, so I start off. If you need to lighten it because it's easy to do in Lightroom. Come to the crop tool. I've been setting it for the 8x10 because the smaller sizes it can crop down into them. It's not a big deal. They're already pretty centered. I'm not going to change that at all. So I'm just going to hit done. As you can see, it took some of the edges off of there, which we didn't need anyway. All right, so we right click, edit in Photoshop. All right, now go ahead and go to Photoshop. There's our picture. Control J to make a duplicate so we don't work destructively. We can always go back to our original picture. And now we start with our warp tool. So we select our rectangle marquee. Excuse me. And yeah, time to get in. So with here, we're just gonna have to take our time and do pieces. All right, so we'll start there. I'm gonna hit my shortcut F2, which is the warp tool. That's not set natively. You either have to go in and set it and bind it to a keyboard, a keyboard as a keyboard shortcut to a letter or something on your keyboard. Now I'm looking at this little shadow here. That's why I'm pausing like that, but I think I'm gonna just raise this, and yeah, it did exactly what I needed it to do. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit a check on that. But yeah, so to show you the actual way to get it without knowing that shortcut is you come to edit, transform, warp. And you can see right there, I have it set to F2. And we're just working our way around. Okay, see, and that's what happens when you don't have enough blue. It stretched it a little bit, but not a lot at all. So I'm gonna reselect that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come and grab Thinking about right here. From here down. Warp. Let's see how that looks. See how that works out. So it cleared it. We have this little area, which I'll just go to my patch tool and see if it can quickly clean that up. If it does a good job, then there's not much we need to worry about. And I think that's not too bad. I think I want to go and clear a little of this because that's a little bright. And to me, that looks a little bit better. It's a little bit blended, better blended. Oh, yeah, this part's gonna be fun. All right. Nope, that ain't gonna work. How do we do that? All right, so I'm gonna try something on this. I'm gonna go right above it, try to cut out a sliver as big as it. I think I need to go a little bit further over. And sorry, a little bit bigger, a little bit taller. And I'm gonna say make a new selection via copy. So layer via copy. So what it did is, I don't know if you can see it, but basically it just has a little bit of piece of blue. I'm gonna go to the selection tool and I'm just gonna tell it to come down. I'm gonna ease that in. Now I could have actually probably just dragged it with the mouse too. All right, come on, thing clear. There we go. So I think it's a little bit easier to work with that because now I can probably come take my patch tool and just kind of blend that in. Ah, okay. I know what's wrong. I'm on that layer. That's why that happened. So if I bring that up here now, we should be good. Nope. All right, I'm gonna try flattening the image. Actually, did Control Alt Shift E does a flatten without actually flattening. I know that sounds weird, but if you flatten, it combines all the images and makes them into one. If you do Control Alt Shift E, it gives you a flattened image without actually taking away all your layers. So what I'm going to do is going to try to work on this layer and just see if that makes a difference, because I was hoping that it got rid of that square, and it looked like it tried, but it had a little bit of trouble because it was going between two layers. See, now that it's all into one layer, that looks a lot better. This is well blended, right? So now we just have this little bit of stuff to play with around her hand, which now I can go to the clone stamp tool. All right, now this part can be a little bit tricky. I'm actually not just going to clone stamp, and I'm going to show you why. If I just try to clone stamp this, right, and you want to make sure you're on a soft brush. But if I try to clone stamp this, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of going into her hand, sending that blue into her hand, and we don't want that. So what I'm going to have to do is we're going to get the pen tool. And I can tell you, if you like Photoshop, get used to the pen tool. The pen tool is a lifesaver. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to start right as where you see it kind of fades out, which is somewhere back up in here. Let's say right here. So if you left click, and you left click to the next nearest point, it creates a line. Now, if you drag it, it'll move that line. And you have to play with it in terms of, the different lines and how they expand out. It's kind of hard to describe. Like, okay, if I left click just now, and you can see that line is obviously in her skin. But if I take it and I drag down and to the right, it kind of makes that little curve. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Alt and click on that point because I want to start a fresh new point. Okay, again, I'm going to drag just a tad down and to the right, press Alt and click it. And you're going to see why this is so important in just a little bit. See, so I can move this curve however I want by moving it left, right, up and down, and I can also make it, longer or whatever. So that's why I say it takes a little bit of playing with just to kind of get used to the motions. But once you do, pen tool is like a lifesaver. Didn't actually like that, so try over here. Oh, so something is going on with this one. Let me go back. Bring that closer to the nail bed. Press Alt so we can start our new one. And all I'm doing is making the outline of her finger. It does take a little bit of time. All right, I don't like that one. Bring it here. All right. We're almost home, y'all. And it needs to be close. I mean, it doesn't have to be super perfect for this. You just want to try not to clip any of this, her skin or her nail. It doesn't matter if you're on the outside a little bit because we're only doing this for blending. Now, if you were cutting her out of the picture, you want to be a little bit more precise. Take your time. But for this, we don't have to be super, super precise. If we get a little bit of blue, that's fine. All right. And to be honest, I don't think we even need to go to the bottom. So I'm just going to come off of that finger. Well, no, I'm gonna actually do the finger. And now I'm just going to go around and make this selection around this box. All right, so now that we've traced that out and we have our selection, we have to tell it to actually make the selection. I'll probably use a radius of 1. All right, now this is where it gets interesting. So now that we've made our selection, right? If we come to the uh, clone tool, we can actually clone and watch what happens. Now, if I were to click on her uh, dress without a selection being done, it would basically make a blotch, right? You see that blotch, it would make that in her thing. But if we come and do that while we have the selection, it makes it all even. And it stays within how do you say it? It stays within the selection, like it doesn't go outside of the selection. See? Now that happened because I wasn't paying attention to my what I sampled from. Every time you see the crosshairs change, I'm pressing the Alt button to sample from that area. All right, and that's not too bad. I am gonna take care of that. Want that to be a little bit lighter. But yeah, the rest of it, I don't think we did too bad. Nope, don't like that. And so you just got to be careful about the blending. But I think that is pretty good. I think we can work with that. So I'm gonna go ahead now and just deselect. Yeah, I can work with that. I mean, you can see there's like a little shadow there, but I mean, we can work with that. That's not terrible. And if it really bothers us, we could go in and just kind of, with the patch tool, select as close as we can and just have it blend that area a little bit better. See, and now it really doesn't even too much look like anything. I'll probably get right and just keep it, because this is light, this is dark. I'm gonna just keep it in this like middle ground to try to match it as best I can, and then voila, good. I think that looks much better from where we were. All right, and we're gonna take these obvious wrinkles out. All right, there's a little trace of something right here that I'm seeing. I don't know if you all can see that. I'm gonna take that out as well. All right, clean this up. All right, just pausing for one quick second. All right. Just messaging somebody on Facebook that sent the message. But okay, so where were we? We got that out. I'm on my pass two. I'm gonna try to get this little piece out here. Just move that to the left a little bit. That looks good. Yep. And we could leave this, or we could take it out. I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna take it out. All right. So I think we look good. I think that's a finished product. So that one was a little bit, trickier than some of the other ones, but that was good because you all get to see it. But yeah. So let's go ahead and add our boost. I got to take off the selection, and we add our boost, and that's it. So we're gonna save our TIFF, select IBM, and go to Lightroom, and we should see that picture pop up. All right, there we go. So here's our original, and then here's our finished product. So not a bad job, not a bad job. All right. So we've been at this now for about 2.5 hours. I think we're gonna go ahead and take a little break. And I will be back a little bit later. But if anybody has any comments, feel free to drop a comment down below, and I'll try to answer any questions that anybody has about Lightroom, Photoshop, all the actual photography of it. As you can see, we had a multiple multiple lighting system where we had 3 lights. We had a front light and 2 side lights. So feel free to comment or call us at 504-383-3259. All right, deuces.